Hey everybody, welcome to Aniki, the podcast about anime with two brothers. I'm Ben.
And I want to live deliciously.
Deliciously? How does one live deliciously?
I don't know. It's from the Vivitch. Oh, I don't. Dost thou wish to live deliciously? It's from the Vivitch. You know, the witch with the two V's because it's old timey.
Ah.
You know that Vivitch?
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember any delicious witches in this show.
What? All witches are delicious.
All of them?
All witches. No such thing as an undelicious witch.
I point you at Madoka and rest my case.
I mean, she's not living deliciously, but
One of them was.
her life could be a little more delicious. But say la vie.
Well, before we get to witches,
Yeah.
what have you been up to since last we spoke, which is like a month ago,
You know,
before Christmas?
a lot of work. Christmas. Been playing the new God of War, and by new I mean 2018 God of War, which is shockingly like good and stuff. It's really weird.
That is what I heard 2 years ago.
It's not like the games are bad. It's just, you know, this one has like a story that's like good and well written. It's bananas. But it's really,
This is the one with him and his kid, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
See, I read all of Witch Hat at Lear, which is a manga. It's fantastic, and also, guess what about witches? What else?
Were there actually witches' hats?
Yeah, no, it's about witch hats. Yeah, no, there's the cone hats, and then there's the brim hats. You don't want to be a brim hat. Brim hats are bad.
Is that like a small brim fedora type witch?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, they're the hipster witches. What else? Well, the new Star Wars IP launched earlier this month, so I started reading it. It's High
Okay.
Republic. You know,
High Republic.
yeah, the book's pretty good.
All right.
You can tell it's written by a comic guy, but you know, it's pretty good.
What does it follow? And please don't say the Republic.
Well, it's High Republic, so it's about, I don't know, like 200-300 years before Clone Wars.
Uh-huh.
It's just a different time period. They got all the writers together to sort of hash out what they wanted the world to be like. Because, you know, turns out if you want to do Star Wars in an overarching story, it's best to get everybody together to hash out said overarching story before you start doing it.
That's a silly idea.
It's
I have it on
real
good authority
novel.
that you just wing it.
You just wing it. It's novel concept, I know, but here we are.
Here we are.
Trying to think of
In
anything else that
2021.
really matters happened. No, I don't think so. I did find out Gowry is in Wandering Witch, but I guess we can wait for that.
We can.
What else? I don't know.
I'm trying to think if I did anything anime related. No.
I didn't watch anything else. Like, gonna watch WandaVision tonight. So
WandaVision?
Cool. WandaVision
Please
is
tell
the
me.
new MCU show about Wanda and Vision,
Oh.
which also includes witches. So A+, very witchy.
I was really hoping that it was going to be a dog division show. Because Division.
WandaVision. I mean, I suppose, but that would be like the opposite of Full Metal Alchemist.
Ugh.
Wandication.
Right,
in more
right
ways
in the
than one.
heart.
Yeah, right in the old cook row.
By the way, I've been pelted over the last couple of days with like all these Sailor Moon Eternal PVs and music videos and stuff for the upcoming series.
Yeah,
with
there's the new. Is it the new
Frenia.
series or the new movie? Or yes to both?
It could be yes. I haven't really looked into it.
I mean, they're getting to the quote unquote good stuff now, so that's why
No,
people
they're
are
not.
kind of caring. But
No. Sailor Moon should have stopped at S, and I'll stand by that statement.
eh,
I think they're doing supers now,
yeah, Super
which
S.
is right before maybe Stars.
Yeah, I'm
I don't
Stars.
know
is
how
when
they're going to
things go
reconcile that.
bananas, but you know, say lovey.
I've rediscovered in the last couple of days my love and joy for convincing people that the Sailor Moon royalty are nothing but a bunch of tyrants.
I mean, that's most royalty when you get right down to it.
And the Dark Moon clan was right.
I mean, probably
All
also
along.
true.
I can go off on rants. It's great.
But are any of them worth actually listening to? Science point to know.
Not right now, they're not. When those things air, though, you can count on me. I'll have your back for at least a 2-hour rant.
There you go.
Speaking of rants, how would you like to rant about witches?
About witches? I'll rant all day about witches. Witches are great. The bigger the hat, the better the witch. Everyone knows this. And this show has some big hats.
My question is,
Yes.
how do those hats, without magic, stay on their heads?
Magic. Bobby pins, hairpins, obviously.
Better be some really strong hairpins.
The bigger
They move
question.
at some incredible speeds.
Yeah, the bigger question is, what the heck is this show? Because I still don't know. Other than pretty good.
Yeah, it is pretty good.
But like, what is it?
That is a question
What
that
is this show?
hopefully,
What is Wandering Witch: Journey of Elaina?
hopefully over the next hour, we will figure that out. 'Cause I also don't know.
I don't know what this show is.
Well, this week we decided to do Wandering Witch, the Journey of Elaina-san.
How is this actually? It's something tabi. Is it just Maho?
Majo no Tabi Tabi.
Yeah. But it spells
The
Majo.
Witch's Journey.
Witch's Journey. Yes, witches. Wandering Witch.
Would you like to give, as much as you can, the overarching
A witch
plot?
wanders around. That's it. That's all you can get.
She does wander here and there, to and fro.
Elaina, who's got a wonderful personality, that of a protagonist. She is a witch. She's one of the youngest witches. Goes from town to town, kingdom to kingdom, kuni to kuni, because she was inspired by Nike, who, spoilers, definitely is not her mother. She read
100% not her mom.
She basically read the adventuring journals. Okay, so it's like if after reading Journey to the Deep North by Basho, you were like, that sounds cool, and worked really, really hard to become a poet to go wander northern Japan to also write Journey into the Deep North. It's basically
True facts.
That's basically this. That's the setup at any rate. Only with witches. So you heard it here. This
Only with
show
witches.
is Journey into the Deep North, but with witches.
Journey into the Deep Magic.
But with witches. Really,
But with
this is a lot of things, but with witches. I thought it was going to be Aria, but with witches, but that's the other witch show. I forget the name of that one. That was,
Oh, yeah. The one where they had golf music.
Yeah, where they just hang out at like the witch's
Flying
house.
Witch.
Flying Witch. Flying Witch is just Aria, but with witches. I thought that's what this was going to be too. It is not. It's more Girls Last Tour, but with witches. But maybe not that. Maybe it's more Star Trek, but with witches. I think I land on Star Trek, but with witches.
I mean, that's an interesting take. I went into this show just remembering that it was highly anticipated the season this came out, which was last season? Fall? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
It was pretty high up there, and it looked cute. And I thought to myself, this is going to be, I wouldn't say Aria with witches, but close.
There's going to be a cute girls doing cute things, but with witches.
She was going to wander around and help out.
Does
And
she?
What I got was somewhere between Jack Kerouac in a witch hat.
Yeah, no, I would allow Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, but with witches.
And Fear and Loathing in Witchtown.
Yeah, Fear and Loathing in Lost Witches, also
Yes.
acceptable.
It's somewhere in there.
You
And I'm
know-
not sure what side of that it lands on.
It's an odd show. You can tell it's kind of based on some sort of novel rather than some sort of manga property, because it works a lot more like diary entries, which is what they are.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. Doesn't have
It's
story
written
arcs.
by a first-time author. Like, this is his
Yeah, he self-published the
series.
first one.
Mm-hmm. Self-published off Amazon. And I think it works to the series' benefit because it doesn't land in any kind of genre
No, it doesn't. I mean, it
other
does
than
read like
travel diary.
yeah, it does read like a travel diary.
However, the tone,
It's all over the
Is-
place.
I've never witnessed something with this much tonal dissonance that was still good.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's like, yeah, there's tonal dissonance, but the main character has a good personality and character through line. So like it's not weird in that way. It somehow pulls off what frickin' not Zero No Skyma, though it's just as bad. ReZero. Like ReZero has massive tonal dissonance, but you feel it. This has massive tonal dissonance, but it works because it's kind of like an anthology show. It's kind of like Star Trek, where it can get away with having an episode where she's upset and zany that someone cut her hair and put it on a doll. And then the next episode gets dark.
A bit dark.
The fact that episode 8 and episode 9 are right next to each other is wild.
Yeah. Episode 8 is silly yet odd. And then episode 9 has no credits.
It's grim.
No op, and has a warning at the start saying some material in this show will not be suitable for children.
I saw that.
You got this cute like,
witch hat. Because even the music is like, on? This is going to be a cute episode. It's like, yeah, but you put that warning there. So what's going to happen? And
well, some stuff happens.
It happened. Happens.
Oh, man.
It's like, are the cicadas going to start up anytime soon? I think they might.
I feel like after I got done watching this, I wanted to give it an 8. Especially knowing that there might be a sequel series.
I certainly hope so. I'm more in for more Wandering Witch.
I mean, given that this show, we all, well, at least I did, and it sounds like you did, thought that it was going to be super predictable. Very Arya-esque.
Yeah, not necessarily predictable, just light.
And it somehow kept me on my toes every episode, except maybe the last one.
You never know what you're going to get.
It's like a box of chocolates.
Yeah, it's like a box of witches. It's like a coven of witches. You never know what you're going to get.
I feel like that'll be a future episode, just a box of witches.
A box of witches.
Can you recommend Wandering Witch?
Yeah, I can recommend
it. Just to anybody.
Yeah, it's about witches. So you know that episode of Steven Universe whose episode description is like, Steven Universe has a fun sleepover. And it's the one where he like dreams of terror and awful at the bottom of the ocean. This show's a bit like that. It's like, yeah.
Interesting analogy.
It's a wandering witch. That's what you're going to get. And then it's like, and so much more.
We're going to make so many analogies. It's kind of like Spice and Wolf. You think you're going to get a big fluffy tail and ears, which you do get.
Yeah.
But you also get economic puzzles.
Yeah. This, you do get a witch, and she does wander. She's got that great big old hat.
And there's so much more.
There's a lot more.
Well, it sounds like a solid recommendation from both of us. So go watch it. We won't spoil any more for you for the next 2 seconds.
Now we're going to spoil
2 seconds
everything.
is up. Now we're going to spoil everything. What the hell? What the hell is the show?
I don't know. What is the show? I mean, really, you know something weird's going on when you get like episode 2 and you're like, okay, Elaina meets another witch who steals her like witch identification brooch.
Uh-huh.
And then it's like cute, a little Yuri. And then the next episode starts with, and then flowers ate everyone. And you're like, what?
And there's just half that episode too.
And this is half. The back half is like, yeah, slavery sucks, doesn't it? Bye, Elaina. And no one saw Nino ever again. And I go, okay.
Yeah. These are things that occur.
I mean,
I think what we need to do here is we need to talk about Elaina first, and then we just need to go through this art episode by episode.
I mean, that's all you can do because there's no arc, right? There's no arcs.
The only arc is episode 1 and everything else.
Basically.
I guess let's talk about episode 1 and Elaina.
Yeah.
Together because they're one and the same.
Her personality is protagonist.
Her personality is the closest I can imagine to what true neutral is in the D&D realm.
She's wonderfully low-key bitchy, and I love it.
She is out for herself.
But not in like a mean way.
No, she's more like, I'm a neutral observer in the things that I participate in.
Yeah.
Because I am a self-insert journalist, maybe.
But I'm also the best. I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm the best. Like when she gets to the town where no one can lie, and the first thing she tries is like, I'm going to tell myself that I'm not beautiful and amazing. And she's like, I am beautiful and amazing. Sorry. Like, okay. Yeah. I love
That's
you.
on brand.
I love you, Elaina. Never change. Unless you turn to slime.
So Elaina starts out life as a baby, like most people. And then she becomes a young girl who gets captivated by the adventures of Nike, another wandering witch.
Yeah. The OG wandering witch.
who may or may
It's her
not be
mom.
her mom.
It's her mom.
It's probably her mom.
We all know it's her mom.
Very likely her mom.
It's a freaking mom. It's her mom. It's her mommy. Mom.
So she wants, at a young age, to become just like Nike and go off, become a witch, and see the world. And she gets her mom to promise her that if she becomes a witch, then she can go journey around.
Yeah.
So to that end, she spends all of her time studying, happens to become the youngest girl to pass the witchy exam.
Yeah. The witch apprentice exam. Not the youngest to become a witch, but the youngest to pass the witch exam.
Which is kind of to her detriment, because now no one will take her as their apprentice because they're all super jealous. Anyway, she does end up finding this sort of oddball teacher out in the woods who happens to have been paid off by her family.
Yeah, to be miserable. I wonder how Fran knows her family. Huh?
I wonder how did that happen?
How could that have come about?
No one knows. So she trains with Fran out in the woods for some time after Fran tries to kill her. Yeah, she becomes a witch.
Yeah.
She becomes the Ashen Witch because it sounds cool.
Yeah, it's the color of her hair, and that's always cool.
So she gets her wish. She can become a journeying witch now, and she does.
Good job.
Rest of show.
Hence rest of show. She now wanders
Plot
and is a
over.
witch. Basically. I mean, arcing plot over because there's no arc. It's just now a series of literal episodes.
Vignette, very much so.
It's Star Trek. It's Star Trek, but witches. She shows up to a new town, doesn't solve any of their problems, but thinks about them really hard, and then leaves.
Which
Picard.
Star Trek you referring to? Oh, okay.
This is next gen, early next gen in particular.
I was gonna say she didn't kiss anybody or anything.
No, that would be.
But
Kirk.
she is getting the locals to fawn over her.
A local
could be
in
Kirk.
specific. One specific local in particular.
Yeah.
Speaking of that particular local, how about Saya?
How about Saya? I never really found where I landed with Saya.
She shows up exactly the right amount.
That's a good observation. She does. She never became too annoying.
Yeah. Now she shows up enough to she's a reoccurring character who super wants to bone down with Elaina, but she only shows up enough for that joke to remain good. And then they part ways again. And you're like, okay, good.
Yeah. Well, she shows up in episode 2, stealing Elena's brooch as Elaina comes into her town, which is like the land of mages or something.
Yeah.
They're all city states.
Yeah.
She steals her brooch, tries to convince her to stay to help her train for the apprentice exams. And Elaina eventually figures out, hey, you stole my brooch. That ain't cool. Give it back. And Saya's like, sorry, do you still want to bone or not?
She's like,
And
yeah, no.
that sort of becomes the thing.
Yeah. So when you Google this show, one of the auto suggestions that pops up is Wandering Witch Yuri, which is very funny that's
I don't have an answer to that question.
Neither does the author. The author says, yeah, maybe. I'm uninterested in ever giving her a romantic partner in any way, shape, or form, so I don't care.
Good. That's delightful. I love this guy.
He's just like, eh.
All right.
The one of the many hers is the her that likes girls. So
Jougi Shiraishi, I'm following your career now. Props.
So again, one of hers that she meets in the episode where she meets all of her hers is the her that meets girls, and we don't meet the her that likes boys.
No, we find the one that just gets infatuated.
Yeah.
Which leaves it open-ended. Anyway, The thing I like about Saya is her voice actress.
Oh, yeah.
Because she has some range, and I like how it's applied with Saya, because anytime she's near Elaina, or she gets excited, she does the typical anime high squeaky voice that you associate with all anime girls for the last 20 years. But if she's like away from people or not thinking about her surroundings, she gets a more low register voice that reminds me a lot of Megumi Toyoguchi, who did Revi from Black Lagoon.
Oh, sure.
It isn't. It's Tomoyo Kurosawa, who hasn't done a whole lot of stuff, but she has a good range. I like how she applied it on Saya. Good voice acting.
Yeah, no, I liked her acting a lot. But Saya also finally becomes a full-fledged witch. So that's cool. And then they have chances to meet on and off again.
Their paths are intertwined. They are star-crossed something or others.
Yeah, basically.
Those are the main characters. That's really all that matters.
I mean, yeah.
So that's episode 2. Is she meets Saya becomes infatuated, and Elaina is nonplussed about the situation. Mm-hmm. But it's to her advantage because she now kind of has a groupie. So that's nice.
That's cool.
That's about as far as that goes. And then we go to episode 3.
Where things take a turn. Suddenly a different show.
Some light Yuri, which is as controversial as the show has gotten, to here's a field of flowers.
Okay.
Aren't they
cool.
nice?
They are nice.
Also, they eat people.
Also, they tempt people and eat them to death. Yeah.
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 While they are alive.
Yeah, it does. And it tempts them out to the field. The field of flowers tempts people out to the field of flowers by capturing people and then, making people miss them and try to come find them in the field of flowers that then eats you.
Yeah. It's not great.
And then
the field of flowers. Yeah, plant zombies that send more bouquets of these flowers out to the surrounding city-states.
Yeah.
Hooray.
Yay.
Now, I found that not only did this mark my realization that I was in for more than I expected, but it was also where I learned that Elena's personality is super neutral. In episode 2, when she's reacting with Saya, it's the typical Yuri stuff of, no, I'm not into that, ha ha ha, played for laughs.
Yeah.
But in this half episode, Elaina knows, after she figures out the flower thing, she finds a dude who's being devoured, does nothing.
Well, I think it's too late for him, but
it probably is. But she also knows that zombies are being sent out to infect further places.
Yeah.
And her response to this is, ain't my problem.
All that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Yeah. I got places to be.
She does. Anywhere but there. It's very Prime Directive. She's like, it's really not my place to solve all these problems, so I'm just gonna scooch on out of here.
I mean, no one's asked her to fix it. No one's paying her to fix it.
I'm gonna go hit that good old dusty trail.
And her mom did promise her, or have her promise her mom, that if she ever got into trouble,
run away from it. She's like, yeah, okay.
Which, normally when you watch a show like that and a character makes that promise, they immediately break it because they need to be your hero.
No,
and Elena's like, nope, no, that's my Prime Directive.
Yeah, I'm out of here. I'm not dealing with this. I'm literally not paid enough. Goodbye.
And then we get to the second half of episode 3, where she meets a very strange young man with a bottle full of happiness, which may or may not be heroin. We have no idea.
No. It's happiness. It's people's happy memories. When he opens it up, people get visions of the happy memories.
Yeah, it's definitely not opium. Because he got it from flowers, he said.
I mean,
or some of it did.
He tried to get happiness from flowers. But
he takes Elaina back to his house, which I'm not sure what his goal there was. It's never
one thing
out.
One thing that's important about the world state is witches are highly respected.
They are. There aren't.
So it's one of those things where it's probably like to show respect to the witch and also to curry favor by saying a witch came to visit our house. It's one of those sorts of things. Right?
Yeah, that does track with that family. So Elaina does go to the house for some light lunch. She just ate.
Please, a light lunch. Please, a light lunch.
She does not get a light lunch. And the boy who had this bottle of happiness and professing that the happiness was so that the girl that he had set his eyes on could experience joy like she had never seen before because she's always just so gloomy.
Gee, I wonder why.
The girl, Nino, shows up as not a servant, not the waiting girl. She's a slave.
Just straight up.
A straight up slave.
This dude's dad is a complete dink.
Is beaten and abused in front of Elaina.
Yeah.
She is shown the happiness jug anyway. And it's not what you expect. Because at this point you don't know what to expect. She breaks down in tears because she has been shown, here are all the things you can't have.
Basically, right? I mean, and that's the point, is that like when Elaina leaves, because she's not going to help out because that seems complicated in your business, and I'm not going to be a part of your business.
Apparently, that business transaction was fair and square.
Yeah, I mean,
problem.
She does kind of ask Nino, do you want me to do something here? She's like, nah.
No, I'm good.
I'm out of here. But yeah, Elaina remembers a story of a woman who couldn't get out of bed because she was so sick. So her husband went and saw the greatest sights to bring back to her so she could experience them. And she's like, man, I don't quite remember how that story ends. And then when she leaves Nino and all that business, she's like, oh yeah, I remember how it ended. The woman killed herself because she was reminded about all the things she couldn't do anymore.
Yeah. This is a happy, cute show. What?
This is a
what
weird
is happening?
show. Show's like, here's some deep, dark thoughts. And you're like, you okay? Yeah, all right. I guess I'll have those now. It was cool.
So let's move on to episode 4, The Princess Without Subjects.
This seems like this will be a happy one.
Elaina shows up to a new city-state that's just on fire and covered in ash. Just all the ash. Snowing ash all day. Can't find a single soul. There's no one around. She goes to the castle. She burns her way in, which I thought was funny. Goes inside and finds a strange girl in a...
super 80s princess dress.
Oh, I was going to say zoot suit dress.
I mean, yes, the arm pads, though.
Oh, such arm pads.
She's straight up like Queen Beryl in this thing.
Oh, yeah, she kind of is. She explains that, as far as she knows, she's the only person left.
Yeah.
And shows Elaina a note.
That she has obviously probably left for herself, or someone left for her. It's a little unclear.
Yeah,
I mean,
she explains that a few days ago she woke up and couldn't remember anything about herself other than her name, and found a note explaining that, hey, when the sun goes down, there's going to be a big old dragon, and he's going to come eat anybody that's outside, and he really wants to eat you.
But he can't, because you're safe in this castle. So what I want you to do is I want you to kill it. So
please
do that.
Kill the dragon. All right. If you haven't watched this show and you're in spoiler land anyway, I would like you to think about what will precipitate from this point. You have all the pieces you need so far. You've got dragon, princess with amnesia, and someone's got to kill a dragon.
Yeah. First off, Elaina ain't helping with all this. This seems like nope.
She does agree to dig a hole for the princess, though.
Because she was fed and housed. So that's cool.
So she's like, all right, I ain't going to help you kill this dragon. But while the sun's out and the dragon isn't around, I will help you lay a trap, and then you can kill the dragon. So she digs a big old hole that they can cover up with some magic, and the dragon will fall in chasing the princess later.
Yeah, sounds good.
Good plan. And it works.
Yeah.
It's a delightful trap. The dragon falls in, and then the princess starts shooting it with magic.
All the magics.
There's a lot of blood. There's just a lot of blood.
A lot of blood. And then when the dragon dies, the princess is like, oh yeah, I remember now. I erased my memories to turn my dad into this dragon because he killed my boyfriend and killed my unborn baby. Oh yeah. I remember now.
And Elena's like, cool story. Quick question. What about all the subjects? Yeah, well, I figured that since my baby was taken from me, I would take something away from my dad, which was
all of his subjects. And he would eat them all while knowing he was eating them all, but not being able to stop himself as a giant dragon. So I thought that would be cool and fun to do. And then Elena's like, I'm just going to go.
That's the door. Cool. See ya. I'm out.
I'm just gonna leave because you got a lot.
On out.
You got a lot going on here, so I'm gonna leave you to deal with that mess. I got
left.
More interesting things to do and play more interesting things. I mean hijinks at the magic school next door.
Yeah,
that seems like more fun than this.
Which tonally leads us to the next episode, where Elaina meets her old sensei, and they just have wacky hijinks with the students, and nothing bad happens.
Nothing bad happens at all. Like actually, nothing bad happens. She meets up with her old teacher. She discusses that Fran, too, was inspired by Nike. Again, I wonder how or why. And she tried to write a book about her adventures, but she lost it.
Oopsie.
Oops. That's it. That's the episode. Some fun hijinks, and Elaina teaches kids how to magic.
And Fran showers her with flower petals, and so do all the other students because Elaina helped teach them some things over the last couple of days. It's very touching. And then she goes off.
Yeah.
Cue credits. That's it.
That's it.
You thought we're pulling your leg.
No, that's the next episode. This show's bananas. And like, here's the like weird thing, right? So like after episode 2, you're like, okay, so this is a fun, lighthearted show. And then you get episode 3 and you're like, okay, well, it's darker than I thought, but sure, whatever. And then 4 and you're like, okay, so it's just actually like one of those shows that's like ironically in a cute style, but it's actually like a little grim. And then you get episode 5 where it's back to like lighthearted and weird. And you're like, now hold on. What's going on? I don't know. What's the next episode going to be? I don't know anymore.
So let's move on to episode 6, because that was it that happened in episode 5. Episode 6, Elaina arrives in the land of the truth tellers, which is like Liar Liar, but with witches.
Yeah, but with witches.
She arrives in this country where the king has
She can't call herself not beautiful. Sorry, them's the rules.
The king has decreed by magic fiat that no one will be able to say a lie.
And the king is Gowry from Slayers. You cannot convince me otherwise. Too. He's got the big, stupid sword.
And Elaina quickly realizes that A, she's still beautiful, and B, that none of the subjects talk to each other. They've invented sign language. They use actual signage, usually flip books. Because you cannot write full lies either.
But you can nod lies.
Yeah, you can string together a bunch of not lies into a sentence as long as they're on different pages.
Yeah.
Anyway, she is just there to visit. However, Saya, who has since become a witch and has joined the Magical Association of Witchcraft and Wizardry,
basically,
has shown up on request of a former witch there and is asked to destroy the sword. Yeah. Because nobody likes this sword. Nobody likes not being able to lie a little bit. And society will crumble if they don't do something soon, because society is driven by lies.
Yeah. And Elena's like, well, that sounds like it shouldn't be my job to do. But Saya's like, well, too bad. Please help.
She doesn't have feelings for Saya.
No.
But she likes having a groupie.
Well, I think it's because she couldn't. So while Elaina is kind of a low-key bitch, she's low-key. She doesn't want to just say, no, this isn't my problem. She wants to subtly say, no, this isn't my problem, and leave. But since it's the land of truth tellers, she can't just, kind of scooch to the side and get out of this while still looking good, or at least decent. So I think she just kind of has to go along with it because she can't not.
I feel like she's also got a very small set of maybe friends.
Yeah.
I'll call them friends. Small set of friends where she feels like if she is in a situation with them, there is a threshold of I'm in this too deep now.
Yeah.
I can't get out.
Yeah. I guess.
Whereas if we're strangers, she would just be like, Irish exit by.
The old Tokyo Sayonara. Now, where's that cat?
So Elaina and Saya come up with a delightful little ruse to get past the guards, where they, with the flip book and a bunch of not lies strung together, convince the guards that there's no way we could lie. The king definitely wants us in there. And the guard lets them in.
Yep.
So they go in and blow up the sword. The end.
I did like the crowd of guards who were unable to lie talking about the witches. Pretty choice.
They had some interesting things to say.
They had some good comments. So again, another like light episode. It had like some thoughts in it, but mostly, again, like a Star Trek plot. You could easily see like the crew of the Enterprise landing on a planet where nobody could lie, and then they like fix it. It's like, okay.
It also had a romantic subplot for a different character.
It did.
The person who contracted Saya in the first place was herself a witch at one point. But because of the way the world's constructed, if you want to do magic beyond your normal capability, there is sort of a law of equivalent exchange in that you can sacrifice something and amp up your spell.
Like losing your memory to make your dad into a kaiju.
Yes, it was introduced then. It's reinforced here where this girl really liked the king or prince or whatever he was. the lie spell was too much for her, so she sacrificed her voice. And it worked, but she lost her magic and her voice. And because she had neither, she was no longer useful at the castle.
And was kicked out. Promptly.
So she wanted the spell broken so she could get both those things back, and maybe she could hit it off with the prince. We don't know if she was successful in that regard, but the spell was broken.
Okay, on to episode 7. Another two-parter. This time again, another
extremely silly.
Just a cutesy episode.
The first half is a witch previous.
Totally not Aniki and totally not Elena's mom. Super, like couldn't be less Elena's mom.
This is where I realized that Aniki was absolutely her mom.
Pop toe to tip.
Aniki at one point visits this city, and the city basically had some kind of political divide. So they built a wall down the middle, as one does.
Separating the left from the right side of the city.
They hated each other. Didn't want to, but they wanted to one-up each other a whole lot. And the witch came by and they asked, hey, what can we do to prove that the other side sucks and we're cool? And she's like, why don't you just have visitors write something nice on your side of the wall, and whoever has the most will win. And like, that's a great idea, I think. But why would we do that? She's like, well, because the other side already has like so many messages.
Like so many. Like you can't even imagine. They started this up ages ago and they're super doing it. And then the village chief is like, okay, yes, we will do it. And then Aniki goes to the other side of the wall to tell them that they should have people write on their wall because the other side's super doing it. Like, guys, like seriously.
Yeah. And Elaina was really into this story as a kid and really wanted to see this wall for herself. However,
when she winds up in town, it's gone. Why is it gone? Because Saya f***ed it all up.
She did.
She got there first. Did she f*** it up? It sounds like she solved the problem.
Kind of. She showed up. I don't know why she was there to begin with.
I think she was there. She was called by the. She's part of the magical association, and she was called there because like the village. It wasn't bringing in the tourists anymore because people got bored of the gum wall in Seattle and were like, yeah, okay, so it's a wall and you put gum on it. And they're like, yeah. Like, and people come to see this and you're like, yeah. Like, aren't you interested? Don't you want to put your gum on the gum wall?
Are you not entertained? Yeah. Come on.
Okay, I guess I will.
So Saya suggests, well, why don't you just write your desires on there? Let me demonstrate for you.
let me demonstrate. Me plus Elaina equal bone. Me plus Elaina equal bone.
Just
me
all
plus
the times.
Equal, you guessed it, bone.
So she goes to the other side, convinces them to do the same thing, and then flies away. However, in her absence, people, they followed her instructions for about a week. And then they realized, I should not have written that in stone.
Turns out, Twitter was a bad idea, is basically what this all boils down to.
You know what? You're not wrong. Let's tear it down and we'll all get back together and live happily ever after.
And they did.
So episode 7 is advocating for the destruction of Twitter, which I can get behind.
I think most people can.
And that's that. She gets
she does get a souvenir.
Gets a souvenir, and that's it.
And what does it say on the souvenir? Aina.
Alay.
I wonder why.
The other half of this episode is just weird. Just real weird.
It features a drunk Elaina. That sounds cool.
That was fun.
And again, this is a wacky one. Like, not just wacky, like wacky.
This one is told from the perspective of an old man telling his son why his small village has an annual festival where they throw grapes at each other. Because years ago, cue flashback, this witch Elaina shows up and it's like, hey, so I feel I'm old enough to get sloshed with wine, but I would like my first wine to be the best. That's why I'm here. I hear you, good sir, have the best wine. To which he replies, well, we did have the best wine.
But we do have the best wine, but the town next door sells their wine better because they put a hot girl on their label and they talk about how the hot girl crushes the wine with her beautiful feet and fetishism sells wine. And you're like, well, I mean, that seems silly, but then I look on the internet and then I'm like, yeah, okay. Point.
In your favor, good sir.
Yeah.
Essentially, both towns have the same wine. They get it from the same grapes, but one of them is crushed lovingly, as advertised, by the foot of a beautiful redhead woman who is voluptuous and definitely not German.
Yeah.
And she crushes the wine.
With
It's
her very
delightful.
own feet.
And how dare they? And Elena's like, I'm not seeing where I care at all about any of that. Can I just have the wine? And he's like, if only we had some sort of brand that could outcompete them. Like just like a beautiful young woman. And what do you think, Elaina? She's like, I don't think so. Good news, everyone. Elaina has agreed. Hooray.
And she's still like, yeah, I don't think so. I think I'm gonna just skedaddle on out of here. But then Rosemary comes up and it's like, oh, look at this baby child who is not at all beautiful like an older, mature woman like myself. And she's like, where are the fucking grapes?
I like the picture they took of her for the label.
Yeah.
Because she is in full rage mode. And eventually they sneak over to the next village and find out that Rosemary is really just a mob boss and she's getting all her lackeys to crush the grapes for her. She ain't doing it.
Yeah.
The brand's all off. Everything's a lie. And then Elaina starts throwing grapes. She gets super drunk and then leaves.
And shoots people with grape bullets via magic and then leaves. And they're like, and since that day, we've thrown grapes at each other because why the hell not? I'm like, well,
yeah, why not?
I mean, okay. They're weird.
Good story,
traditions.
Dad. What happened to Rosemary, though? Yeah, who knows?
We got married.
Definitely not your mom. And yeah, that was it. Remember those dark episodes?
Yeah,
just
remember
a little
those?
bit ago?
Hey, the next episode's called The Ripper. It's gotta be dark and grim, right? Like
It's gotta be.
It's gonna feature like a maybe like a slasher murderer, and it's gonna be like real crazy and like super dark and depressing. I mean, it does start with Elaina. I love how the Wikipedia entry starts on this. Elaina arrives in a country where dolls are very popular. And like, okay, well, that's also creepy.
Yeah, I have so many questions already.
I mean, it reminds me a lot of Nozaki-kun, where boxes have become very popular lately. Dolls have become very popular lately. Everybody's got like 12 ball joint dolls on their shoulders at all times.
As you do. Now, I would like to point something out.
Yeah.
Now, there's a whole plot about dolls
Yeah.
and things that are weird about dolls and magic about dolls.
Yeah.
However, the plot of this episode, that we'll get to in a second, is very specifically about one doll maker and her creepy dolls.
Yep.
At no point is the country's obsession with everybody having a doll on their shoulder about the person in the room. It's never explained, and we never
Ball
talk about
joint
it
dolls
again.
are awesome. I mean, what's the name of our channel that we record this in? What's the topic? Ball joints.
Ball joints.
Because ball joint dolls rule.
Ever since the Rose and Maiden episode.
I was literally talking about them earlier today with a coworker. Ball joint dolls.
I did have to warn one of
Self-explanatory.
my coworkers who was thinking about buying more and more Figma dolls. And he's like, I don't want to turn into that guy. I'm like, well, here's what's going to happen is you're going to buy some Figma. You're going to buy Nindroids.
Yeah.
Okay. And then that's not going to be good enough. You're going to start buying Figmas. And you'll think you'll be satisfied. And then you're going to find out that no, you're not. And then you become a ball joint guy.
Yeah.
To which he was confused. Then he started Googling. And then
don't do
he didn't
that.
speak to me the rest of the day.
No, I wouldn't. Because there's like people who like ball joint dolls, and there are ball joint doll people, and they weird.
They real weird.
You know how some people call their cat their fur baby? I mean, these are like doll children. Yeah, they're weird. No offense. No, I take that offense to everybody who has doll babies. It's just wrong, brah.
Ugh.
No, don't do it.
So Elaina shows up to Doll World.
To doll world.
And to her credit, she is unfazed. She has herself a pastry. She overhears some gossip about a ripper that's just ruining women's lives. And she's like, neat, I'm gone.
Sounds like I'm out of here.
However, a witch approaches her who has been investigating this ripper. She introduces herself as Sheila. She's from the Magical Witchy Association of Witchery things.
Yeah.
And she's been sent here for the ripper.
And she's like, do you know what's been going on in this town? Mysterious traveling witch. And Elena's like, something about a ripper. And she's like, ha, how would you know about that if you just arrived into town today? And Elena's like, I literally heard you talking about it not 2 seconds ago. And she's like, okay, go to your inn, whatever. But I'm going to keep my eyes on you. And Elena's like, all right, well, I'm probably just going to leave after tonight because this place is weird.
She's like, well, you know where to find me if you see or hear anything. She's like, I don't actually. She's like, well, I'm at the place. I'm down there. So come find me, please. Anyway, bye. So Elaina goes to her room. It's got a doll in it. She's like, screw that. Throws the doll in the closet, locks it, goes to bed. Wakes up in the morning, has a Saya haircut, and the doll's gone.
Which is, first off, let me just say, the worst part about this episode is not this. This is the best part of the episode because
this is the worst.
Elaina with short hair, AAA plus. AAA plus, no way around it. This is tops.
Disagree.
This is
strong disagree.
Elaina here.
She's just Saya, but with white hair.
This is the best. This is the best Elaina has ever been and ever will be until the last episode. But that's only because in the last episode, she got some short hair again. And you're like, cool.
So she calls Sheila over, and Sheila's like, okay, A, your hair's gone, and the doll's missing, so that's a clue. B, you look really familiar. Do I know you? She's like, no. Well, it turns out Saya's Sheila's understudy, or used to be. There's a connection there.
I mean, we do need to point out just how upset Elaina is that her hair has been cut. She is extraordinarily upset.
She's very angry. So much so that instead of leaving the town, she decides, you know what? I feel like I will help in your investigation, if only so that I may kill the person that did this.
Like, literally murder them to death.
So there's a big complicated plot where, and by complicated, I mean they go downstairs.
There's a secret auction of dolls, and like all of them are weird, sexy dolls until the last dolls. And they're like, these dolls have human hair. And she's like, well, that's dumb.
Ooh.
I hate them. I want to murder everyone in this town for wanting dolls with human hair. And Sheila's like, hey, wait. You can feel bad about these people. They don't know the Ripper got this hair from unwilling women. And then the auctioneer's like, and the hair on these dolls is from the Ripper who stole it from unwilling women. And then on the crowd's like, yes, we want the dolls even more. And Elena's like, I'm going to burn down this town and everyone in it.
Y'all dead. So she blows up all the dolls. She grabs the one that has her hair, rips its head off.
I love how much, the crowd is just not having it with her.
She starts pulling the arms off the dolls, just women fainting.
Yeah.
She throws the head on the ground and starts to crush it. And finally, the store clerk at the beginning of the episode, who was giving away dolls for free because she's a creepy old hag, it's like, no, don't crush that. That's my doll. I made that. And she's like, neat, you gonna die. And she was like, no, hang on.
We're going to arrest her. And they do. And the worst part of the episode happens where Elaina puts all of her hair back on her head and magics it long again, which is really depressing.
Yeah, and the moral of the story, children, is that you shouldn't cut your hair because long hair is best hair.
Incorrect. Though I do love how at the end of the episode, Sheila takes perpetrator back to Magic Society of Magicness and shows off who she captured with Saya, because Saya's there, and like, okay. Oh, and also I think I saw Elaina, and Saya's like, me jelly, and then she's like, yeah, this lady cut Elena's hair, and Saya's like, I will murder you to death, 1,000 times to death, 1,000 years jail,
and we end on that delightful note.
Episode 8 rules. Best episode.
So let's go to episode 9.
So I'm sure this will be nice. This one definitely doesn't have a disclaimer about how it's not suitable for children in any way, shape, or form.
So Elaina is out of money, and she decides that she'll take a job off a newspaper that hit her leg.
Yeah. It's like, do you want money fast? Are you a witch? Come see me and do witchy things for $1,000 million. She's like, heck yes. And you're like, okay, this is absolutely a setup for some wacky hijinks. Let's see our wacky hijinks. I'm ready. What wacky hijinks happen?
We did have that disclaimer, though, so you know something's coming. Something is going to happen. How crazy do you think something is? That is the question. So she gets there. First, she asks, okay, how much am I going to get? Like, don't you want to know the job? Yeah, we'll get to that. How much money am I going to get?
Show me the money.
And it's like a whole just trash sack full of gold. And
trash sack of money.
All right. Tell me more. I'm interested in your.
I would like
your
to
wares.
subscribe to your newsletter.
It's like, all you got to do is accompany me on a short journey.
Yeah.
Like, all right. That seems pretty reasonable.
Cool.
I do have a quick question, though, because it's pretty sus. Huge sack of gold, quick journey. And she's like, yes. So here's the deal. I had a friend a long time ago.
Yeah.
Her parents were killed.
Okay. It's a little grim, but sure.
By a robber.
Okay, yeah.
She was taken in by her uncle.
Oh, well, that's
abused
nice.
her.
That's good. Okay, no, that's bad. I thought it was going to be a happy story. This is a bad story. This is a grim story. This is a dark story.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
she killed the uncle.
All right.
And
well, I mean, that's kind of
she
redeemed.
ate him.
So that's kind of cool. Okay, no, that's bad. Okay, not for
And
that
then
again.
she developed a hunger and thirst for flesh.
Oh,
And began to kill and eat others
Okay,
until
well,
she was arrested.
that's not fun. Okay, so this is not a wacky episode then.
Oh, and then I had to cut her head off with my own hands.
Ah, I see. And our short journey is what now?
Okay, so hear me out. Here's
Okay.
here's the deal.
All right.
I have developed some time travel magic, and I just need you
Okay.
to come along to stop that robber.
Okay, this seems good. I mean, it's the backstory. The backstory building was a little dark, but this seems okay.
Yeah.
Nothing bad ever happens in a time travel episode. I'm on board.
So the magic, I've developed it over several years. I have had to use my own blood.
Oh, okay. Well, so we've seen a lot of like weird magic deals. That's like gross, but okay.
Also, I'm going to sacrifice all of my magic. So could you please put on this ring so we can share magic while we're there?
I mean, again, little sus, not gonna lie, but you know, I saw that bag of money. Let's do this. I want to have seen this town from 10 years ago because that's on the name of the tin. I'm gonna wander into the past because that sounds cool and nothing bad could happen because we're even doing this for a great good reason to stop a killer before she comes one by catching a robber. This seems fine.
Good deal. So we go back to the past. That's what happens with Elaina and her financier. They get there. The girl does see her old friend, although she's like 9.
Yeah.
Hugs her and is like, "Oh, I'm gonna save you.
Save you from a lifetime of torment." And you're like, "Good. This is gonna end on a happy note. This is gonna be a nice, happy episode. Little dark there at the beginning, but this is fine."
So she goes to the parents' house, says, "Hey, can you guys go over here real quick? Just for like an hour. It'll be fine.
Because we'll
Happens
stop
to be
that
the same
robber.
time the robber's going to show up, and then we're going to get him, and I'm going to punish him for all the things that he did to my friend."
Yeah.
Cool. Robert doesn't show up. Also, the magic ring starts activating, funneling magic away from Elaina. She finds that a little odd, so she goes to investigate. And then the magic funnel cuts off.
Well, that's good. That's a good thing to have happen. That means she has caught the villain and dealt with him post haste. This is going to be a good, happy episode. And that warning at the beginning just had to be for that flashback where we saw a woman kind of bloody. Cool.
Yeah.
Liking this. It's
And,
going good
and we
places.
are correct that the suspect was, in fact, cornered.
Yes.
And,
good.
and apprehended.
This is a good,
So Elaina
happy episode.
rounds the corner. Oh dear. What is this? It seems that the small 9-year-old child has killed everyone,
Oh.
including the financier. Now, as an astute audience of the Animus, you may have seen that coming.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't outside the realm of possibility.
What comes next, though, I was not expecting.
No one wouldn't, would you?
Where the little girl's like, yeah, well, my parents did abuse me, so that's why I killed them and stabbed them a whole
First
bunch.
up, I find that super sus, but okay.
Also, I just like killing people, a lot. And I killed her. I know who she is. She's my friend from the future, and I had fun killing her. And now you're here. That's a new person to kill. That's really cool. This
Sign
is
me up
my
for more
day.
death. What a good day I am having. And okay, so this is the dark part. Okay, got it. This is dark.
Yeah.
It's okay. They're gonna arrest her. They're gonna capture her, put her away in jail, and we're gonna be a little sad. But it couldn't get worse than this.
Yeah, and then financier wakes up
Nadir.
because she ain't dead yet.
Okay,
And
she's
she,
gonna capture her. Awesome. Good. I'm happy
No.
for this. It's gonna be
She
a good
is
episode.
going to violently kill this little girl.
Oh. Okay. So
She's going to cut her arms off. She's going to pull her up by magic into the air by her throat while the girl is laughing maniacally.
And they're going to...
And talking about how nothing means anything. Air killing is so much fun. You guys don't even know.
I mean, maybe that's why we have the disclaimer on this episode. But it's okay, right? Because Elaina can stop it by pulling off the ring. Day is saved. Little dark there, but it's okay. Little girl's still alive. We're fine. Because Elaina can turn off the magic by removing the ring. So this is going to be good.
Oh, except remember that thing where you can sacrifice things? And remember how all of the memories of Financier's childhood friend have now been tainted by the small fact that she's a bloodthirsty monster this whole time. She sacrifices all of her memories of her childhood friend to rip her head off.
Okay. Well, that's nice, I guess. This isn't a very fun episode, is it? Kind of a bad, dark, grim episode, isn't it?
A little dark in places, not gonna lie. So they go back to the future because the time thing has a 1 hour time limit. For the first time, Elaina can't really deal with this. And she's like, you know what? No. Nope. Don't need the money. Don't need any reminding of this nonsense. I'm out.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go have a good cry. Goodbye. And like, I think it's raining in here again. So I think I'm gonna go a bit too.
Yeah, and that just leads us into episode 10.
Yeah,
where we have a fun flashback episode where how the two teachers met way back in the day. Remember that?
Fun.
Those are good times.
Good times. Hey, friendship is awesome, especially when you're young. What's with this show? This show's weird. This is a weird TV show.
Actually, we did kind of like episodes 10 and 11 do have an arc of sorts.
They do. I mean, it's kind of a two-part.
They're connected, but...
And it's kind of mirrored. It's kind of cute. But, like, I mean, again, like, here's the deal, right? So, I mean, we're in spoiler land anyway, so this doesn't really matter. So, episode 9 is all that grim darkness. What if I were to tell you in 2 episodes we're going to have a body swap episode? What? Like, seriously. 2 episodes after that. Episode 11, body swap between Saya and Elaina. What?
Yep.
What?
It's good times.
How is this allowed? And how is this show still good, being able to do those things 2 episodes apart? It's bananas.
So episode 10, we get all the backstory about how Fran and Sheila became the apprentice of the same witch who's totally not Nike and totally not Elena's mom. That's pretty much it. They solve crime together and become friends.
They solve a crime. It turns out Sheila was a super Yankee and awesome when she was a kid.
She was. I love that character.
Fran's pretty much exactly what you would expect, but Sheila turns out to be like super, like young girl boss.
Fran throughout this whole series so far has been just sort of bubbly and spacey. Turns out she's also pretty pragmatic and self-centered. Like those are her true motivations. Because when she asked Sheila, "Hey, what's your motivation for being this lady's apprentice?" She's like, well, I didn't have any direction in life. Figured witches are pretty cool and they garner a lot of respect. I want that. I don't want to be a street urchin. I'll be a witch. People respect me. You know, I don't have to punch them in the face all the time. I'll still punch them in the face all the time.
But be a witch
I won't have to. Fran's like, yeah, my motivation is where I come from, there are no witches. And if I become a witch, I'll be the only witch and people will respect me. And that's how they bond.
Yeah,
hey, we're like, both pretty selfish. Pretty cool.
We're kind of self-interested, aren't we? I'm like, yeah, we are. Cool.
Neat. End episode. So episode 11 sort of dovetails in based on a MacGuffin that was set up in episode 10, where Saya has to deliver a box to an island. She takes the box to the island, which is the same place where Fran and Sheila solve that crime. Well, those crimes are back, and so are the perps.
Yeah, the crimes, wacky crime.
Body swapping crime. It's a Scooby-Doo episode because the crime is carried out by people who cannot magic, so they have magical items which do crazy things. And their idea is, okay, we have a magic box. The magic box, if you open it, causes people to seek out the object of their desires in an insane way, to the detriment of all other things. Okay, but no one's going to open that box. It's held by a witch. So what we're going to do is we're going to body swap the witch and some idiot.
With some random idiot we're going to find on the street.
The idiot will definitely just open the box for us.
That's their
and when that
cunning
happens,
plan.
guys, we're going to steal like all the things.
We're going to steal everything.
That's it. That's
so
idea.
The witch holding the box is Saya, and the random idiot they find is Elaina.
Yep.
Who's in her civvies because she's like, people are attacking witches in this town? Not about that. I'm going to dress in my civvies so nobody knows I'm a witch. It's a win-win. I won't have to do anything, and I get to have these croissants.
And then she wakes up, and Saya's sister is just all over her.
Oh, boy, howdy.
Because it turns out not only is this a slightly Yuri show, it's also a slightly Siscon show.
Sorry, you said it wrong. I'm going to try that again. A slightly Wincest show.
Oh.
And you're going to say, we're going to say Wincest because that's the correct term. What is this? You're complex? It's like a negative. Incest.
I see.
This is a good thing. We're enjoying this in the episode.
Yeah. Well, Saya / Elaina does not enjoy this.
No, she's not about this life.
So she punches her in the gut, knocks her out.
In the gut.
Just a good old liver punch.
Hey, 2 episodes ago, we were killing our young best friends.
Yeah.
This episode, we punched them in the gut, and it's silly.
It's so
silly.
Fun.
This is a silly
It's a fun
show.
time.
Silly.
Elaina and Saya meet, and they're like, hey,
you're me, and I'm you.
What?
That's crazy. This is such a silly show. How silly.
Yeah. And then they solve the crime by closing the box.
Yep.
And that was it.
And everyone's embarrassed because now Elaina knows that Saya's sister is in love with Saya, and it's like a love triangle. So silly.
It's so wacky.
So what a wacky show. So fun and so wacky.
Oh, and then Elaina, I think, does figure out that Sheila...
Now, she pointedly does not figure it out. Because she's like, if I figure it out, I'll leave and go home. So I have figured out nothing. I don't know anything.
And Fran's like, you're an idiot. It doesn't matter if you figure it out or not. You can continue journeying after you figured it out.
She's like, nope.
I'll think on that.
I hadn't figured out nothing.
But you keep your secrets to yourself, you witch. You get it? Because she's a witch.
Because she's a witch. Yeah, no, I got it. I'm good.
Yeah. And then we have episode 12, which doesn't fit at all.
Well, I don't know. It's weird.
Episode 11 ends with Elaina being like, I reject your reality. I substitute my own. I will continue journeying.
Yeah.
And it will be a fun time. And off she goes. Good place to stop. This is episode 12 is more of a bonus / recappy.
I don't
episode.
know. Is it though? I don't know. Because it seems like it actually does do a thing that I don't know if this was in the novels or not. It's kind of weird because I could see it both being in it and not, because it's got some like really interesting concepts in it while also being like strangely wacky. It does move the sort of light overplot forward, but yeah, it's odd.
Okay, so the plot of this episode is Elaina shows up to the country that grants you your wishes.
Yeah.
She goes in thinking, oh, I want to be so rich. But she gets in and it's a bunch of scenes from previous episodes, and she goes to the castle where the princess was with the dragon.
Yeah. And she meets 15 of her other selves, each one like a shard of her personality.
Yeah. You can kind of see where the episode leads, and it's hard to describe where it ultimately leads, but it's set up kind of like not a recap show, because it's not a clip show at all, but it does like nostalgia for all the previous episodes.
Yeah.
I feel like if this was in the book, it probably played a whole lot better than it does visually, because you could get inside of her head and because it's mind games.
Yeah, and one of the things too is like all the other Elainas here are being attacked by the violent Elaina, who's basically an Elaina, because protagonist Elaina, the Elaina that is quote unquote the real Elaina,
our Elaina,
is basically like, okay, so when I was wishing for riches, what I was actually wishing was to like see how I could have been different if I made different choices along my path. It's like, oh, and all these Elainas are basically different me's if I had made different choices. So the one where I'm a slime is where I accidentally did something stupid and got turned into a slime. And this violent Elaina is the Elaina that was never able to cope with episode 9 and just went all nihilistic.
The one, it was specifically that one. No,
she had
her hair was cut.
She had short hair, but that's not what turned her dark. What turned her dark is saying, is saying, I saw the moment somebody's love turned into hatred. And then you're like, okay, well, maybe the episodes we saw aren't in order, because there are some things that say that is probably the case. That's not super important.
Okay.
So, but then they all reconcile, and she figures out the way to be rich is to write all of her diary notes into a book called Wandering Witch, which works out because that's what's going to make her rich. So the country did what it was supposed to anyway.
Yeah, good point. She does end up reconciling with violent Elaina, which is the whole point.
Who has short hair, which is very important.
They have to reconcile, and she reconciles by telling her about the time that she saw the same thing. And I was sort of left ambiguous. Did violent Elaina, did she spin off of episode 8 or episode 9? Unclear, because otherwise, why would our Elaina tell her about episode 9? I don't know. I feel like, again, in the book, if Elena's working out some PTSD, which I feel like this episode is really trying to push at.
Yeah, for sure.
Then it probably worked better there, because here it's kind of
Yeah, it's a little messy. Because it's like trying to do two things at once. It's trying to like give you like some fan servicey type stuff with all the cute, different, like wacky Elenas alongside some like weird dark Elenas. So,
and then she ends up bumping into and accidentally swapping books with a girl named Amnesia, whose book is not called Wandering Witch. It's called Please Read This When You Wake Up. And then we cut out with her saying, yeah, little did I know that I would be journeying with her. Hopefully there's a season 2.
Hopefully there's a season 2, because I Googled what Amnesia is, and it's like, oh, okay, this is interesting. Basically, I guess it's another plot in the book where Amnesia is a girl who loses her memory every night. So in order to remember who she is, she writes it all down in a diary. And that's the diary that Elaina got. But by swapping it with Amnesia's diary, it means Amnesia's going to read the Wandering Witch's journey and think she's Elaina. So that can be both wacky and grim at the same time. So I'm excited for that story.
It's like 50 First Dates, except sometimes it's hilarious and sometimes she's going to throw herself off a cliff.
Yeah, because she's like, oh, that happened to me? That seems grim. And you're like, you're not wrong.
But also, look at the silly thing.
Also, look at the silly things that happen in my life.
So even though this show is super tonally dissonant, I do feel like there was a through theme, and that is just pure cynicism.
A little bit, yeah.
As cute as this show is, in every situation Elaina finds herself in, she is dispassionate about what's going on around her. And the show presents what is happening as just a cynical take on something. That's how I felt about pretty much every episode.
Yeah, very Star Trek-y. Okay, and do you want to know a fun fact? The original author of Wandering Witch had one big rule that the anime had to follow. Do you know what that rule was?
I do not.
No panty shots.
You know what? I like this guy even more.
He was like, you know what? Do whatever, but no panty shots. Don't do it. I know it's tempting because she's in that short skirt. She's got those long legs and it's a little Yuri. And she's flying around on a broom, but no panty shots. One rule.
Jougi Shiraishi, you're all right.
A+.
A+, gold star. Well, I hope you get a season 2. You deserve it.
Yep. And his books have started to be released in the States. You can buy the first 5 now at your local small bookstore, if it's open.
I will point out that the reception for his like novel series over the last 3 years ranked 9th on the best light novels list in Japan. 9th, 6th, and 6th. Yeah, no, I mean, I guess he's been top 10 last 3 years. Solid.
Yeah, they're popular novels. I mean, and I can see why, because I mean, like Star Trek, there's a little bit of something for everybody.
You get a lot of bang for your buck. Sometimes more than you expect.
There's 17 novels out in Japan. There's 5 here in the States.
I wonder how many books each episode covers.
Or
how many
I don't
episodes
know.
Each book covers.
It's hard to know because even the books, I imagine each book is made up of several episodes. So it's probably anybody's
because usually
guess,
the way animes work, it's like 3 per book is the going rate right now. Hopefully that is the case because there's tons of material then to flesh out season 2.
Yeah, it'd be nice because it's good. Well, and it got picked up for a manga as well. So there's a manga now too.
Good deal.
Highly recommend go watch Wandering Witch. You know, it's shockingly good for anybody. Like anybody can watch it and like it. And even if you don't like one episode, you might like the next. It's
you know what the actual theme
weird.
is? It's weather in Indiana.
You're not wrong.
Just wait an episode. Could be a tornado. Could be a delightful summer afternoon. You don't know.
It's weird. People out here try to use that aphorism, and it's like, guys, you're wrong. Whatever weather it is when I wake up in the morning is kind of what it is all day.
No we
matter
can wake
what.
up and it's just so nice outside. Then in an hour, it's super humid and everything sucks. And the next hour, your entire town has been destroyed by a tornado and everything you love is gone.
And next hour, snow.
Yeah.
So pretty.
You know, and maybe a dragon that used to be your dad. I don't know.
These things happen.
Only if you're a witch.
Sometimes your dad's just a dragon. Okay, so what are we going to watch next time? Is it your dad's a dragon? Or I got teleported to another world where my dad's a dragon?
Is that a show?
Or that time I turned into a dragon in another world?
I feel like that is a show.
I'm sure it is. Hey, did you see that Kyoto Animation is back? They're going to have a show this fall.
Is it Nichijou season 2?
It is not.
Okay, what
It's
is it?
Dragon Maid season 2.
Oh, even better.
Also,
Not even
congratulations
better. Also
on being
good.
back, Kyoto Animation. You've been through a lot.
A lot. You had that thing that happened and
Yes.
2020.
Yeah. But good job. And it's, I don't know if it's ironic or what, that your next show is going to be season 2 of
Dragon Maid.
Of Dragon Maid. But hey, Dragon Maid is shockingly great. So
It's world class, if I remember correctly.
that's true. World class. Toe to tip.
Yeah.
Kind of like
I've already
Wandering Witch. It beats
I've already
expectations.
forgotten what we were going to watch. What was it?
What were we going to
Oh, yeah.
watch?
It was Tony Kawa, Over the Moon for You.
We were going to be Over the Moon. Yeah, so
Yes. I can tell you we've watched most of it, and even though it is set up to be adorable, like this show was set up to be adorable when you first looked at it, it does not have a tonal problem. It has a
you
pretty
sure?
solid.
You sure?
tone.
It's just gonna be light and fun. There's no gonna be some random episode where I'm over the moon for you, except I'm gonna kill your 12-year-old cousin.
No.
Okay, you sure?
No, it's yeah, because I've read all the manga too.
Positive.
I am 100% positive. There's I won't say mild inconvenience. There's a large inconvenience that turns out to be okay, and everything is fine.
All right. Just want to make sure.
You're gonna watch it and be like, this is hashtag too real in places.
I hope. I don't want anything
So
crazy.
there you go. Don't wander if you're a witch too far. But if you do, run away if you get in trouble, etc. And visit your mom.
That is true. Who may be the reason you're on this journey with you.
100%.
Bye forever.
Bye forever.